Hi, my name is Caroline, and for the past 15 years I've been sewing, but for the past 3 years I've really made an effort to hone my skills and create some really fun, well-fitting, and some practical garments for myself. So I thought I'd bring you along with this particular project, a pair of pants. These pants, to be precise. I wear pants almost every single day. They're one of the most wearable garments for me. But I don't tend to sew them because I find them to be very hard to fit. They're just one of those garments that I have trouble with. So for this project, I'm looking for a couple things. I want high-waisted pants. I want them to be lightweight for summer. And I want sort of a mom-style jeans where it's a really high-fitted waist, but then a little more relaxed as you get to the hips and a straight leg. So for this project, I'm going to be using the Nielson Dawn jeans. And for reference, I have a 40-inch waist and a 54-inch hip, and I made a size 22 at the hips, and then graded it to a size 20 at the waist. And then I further graded it to a size 14 at the center back. And I actually made a wearable muslin of this pattern before, so I have a lot of ideas about all the pattern adjustments that I want to do. So let's get started. So this is the Nielson Dawn jeans, the curve version, which is like their plus size line. And I have previously made this pair of pants before as sort of a wearable muslin. And so I know I want to make a few alterations to the pattern. I've already graded between sizes for the hips to the waist. But I also know from my previous version that I need to actually grade to a size 14 at the center back on the yoke piece and raise the center back seam an inch as well. I also need to deal with the pockets. The pockets were extremely short for me, and the opening for the pocket is just tiny. So you can see on the front piece, this is the opening for the pocket. And it just doesn't look in proportion with the rest of the pants. And also it is so tiny, I could barely fit my hand in there. So I probably need to take it down, and the pocket is just not deep enough as well. So let's get started altering this pattern. I do want to mention that this is not a tutorial. I made quite a few mistakes along the way with this project, including altering this pocket incorrectly. So I've altered most of my pattern pieces that I wanted to alter, but I've hit my first conundrum, which is that I really should redraft the waistband to be more curved, because I'm taking in so much fabric from the back of the pants that it probably needs to be more curved than it currently is. The problem is that I don't want to redraft the waistband. I don't have any big paper with me, and I'm trying to use what I have. I might actually add a center back seam to the waistband, which is totally not how you're supposed to do this. Well, if I know that's the point that I need to take stuff in, I could just slash at the center back and then make it come together. Why am I not doing that? Okay, I'm gonna do that. I've also pre-washed and ironed my fabric. This is the fabric I'm using. It is a cotton linen blend, and it's yarn dyed, so it has a nice variation. I believe this is Robert Kaufman Essex. That's the line of fabric, the cotton linen blends. And it is 45 inches wide. And I believe I have 4 yards here, so that should be plenty. But I'll probably be cutting everything one at a time, so I won't be folding the fabric in half and cutting stuff out that way, because that is not efficient when you have really big pattern pieces that are not going to fit on a 45-inch wide fabric nicely. So when I was altering the pocket, I didn't take into account that it will actually be folded over like this to create the pocket shape. So I just altered it when cutting. Not ideal, but it should be okay. I might have to sew this edge a little bit, maybe with a 1/4 inch seam allowance, because I didn't leave myself very much room here. But it should be fine, right? It's gonna be okay. Finally, time to sew. Is it just me, or are the first couple steps of a pattern always the trickiest? In this case, it's sewing the zipper fly. Alright, so I have been struggling with this zipper fly for a little bit now. Initially, I thought I could get away with a longer zipper than recommended, but I put it in too far up, so I had to seam rip a bunch of stuff, and I'm glad that I did redo it, because it looks so much better now, and it will be so much easier to actually, when I'm inserting the waistband. So learn from my mistakes and actually put the zipper in line with the top of the pattern piece, with the top of the piece there. And it was also my first time shortening a metal zipper. I just used some needle nose pliers and some wire cutters to carefully take off the zipper stop at the bottom. I always thought that you needed to get a new zipper stop, but I was able to just carefully take mine off and reuse it, and it worked really well. And I used the wire cutters to sort of pry off the little zipper teeth. It was a little bit of a trial and error trying to get the zipper teeth off, but it worked out totally fine, and it looks so much better. I am finishing all my raw edges with a flat felled seam, which I find really sturdy and quite nice to look at. This is my first try on right after sewing the leg seams up. I have a little gapping at the pockets from my previous pocket mishap, but the fit looks good enough on them to continue. And yay, they fit! I hand basted the inner waistband down before top stitching it to make sure that everything is where it should be as I sew it down. And my second fitting with the waistband on. It's looking pretty good. And the last step is sewing the buttonhole and we are done, right? Okay, here's the deal. I completely finished these pants and then I tried them on and they were too big, like 1.5 inches too big. I knew I would never wear them as they didn't feel secure around my waist, so I had to alter them after finishing the whole project. I seam ripped the waistband around the side seams and took about 5/8 of an inch off each side seam. Then I sewed the waistband back down and slapped a patch on the inside to enclose my raw edges, as my altering made the seam too thick to redo my flat felled seam. Not pretty, but at this point I just want these pants to be finished. So, time for the big reveal. Overall, I am super happy with how these pants turned out, despite some struggles. I'm really glad that I went back and properly shortened the zipper and properly installed it. And as well, I'm really glad I hand basted the waistband before top stitching it. It makes all the difference for like a super clean finish on the final garment. This is definitely the most successfully fitted pair of pants that I've made to date. Especially the back waistband. I'm so happy that there's not a ton of gapping. Usually that's my issue. I do have some drag marks on the front of these pants, which apparently could be solved with something called a full pubis adjustment, which is just delightful. So maybe I'll try that next time. Thank you for joining me on this journey and happy sewing.